In these examples, we're going to look at opposites and number lines. So remember from the first video, we said that the negative numbers were opposites of the positive numbers. So this is one way to think about a negative number, and we can also think about the opposite of a number as taking an action of finding the opposite of a number. So let's look at the definition, we'll look at some examples, and then we'll do a couple of problems. So the opposite of a non-zero number is a number that has the same absolute value of the number but does not equal the number. So another useful way of thinking about this is when you take the opposite of a number, you could think of putting a negative sign in front, and we can refer to this in this case as the opposite of 4. And if you simplify this, so we're thinking of it as an opposite because we put parentheses in it. If you think about it, the opposite of 4, so that's a number that has the same absolute value of the number but is not equal. Well, negative 4 has the same absolute value of 4 but isn't equal to it, so these are opposites. The opposite of negative 4, we could say the opposite, now here we're thinking of this as the number negative 4, so the opposite of negative 4 would be the number 4, just like here the opposite of 4 is negative 4. So this notation can get a little confusing, but you'll make sense of it quickly, and we're going to see that there's some easy ways to visualize this and also simplify these problems. So let's look at some examples. Use the number line to plot the given number and the reflection line to find the opposite. So first here we're asked to plot the number 5. I'm going to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So I'm going to plot the number 5. Okay. And now we want to use the reflection line to find the opposite. So the idea, here's our reflection line and it's focused right at 0. The idea is the opposite is the number that's the same distance from 0, remember, because they have equal absolute values, but it's on the other side, the same distance, but on the other side of this reflection line. So let's do this in a different color. If I were to take the mirror image of this across this line, it would be negative 5. So notice there's an equal distance here, and you could think of flipping it the same distance from here to here as here to here. So the opposite of 5 is, I'm going to write this below, negative 5. Now for the next one, we want to plot the number negative 3. So I'm going to label my number line. And now the positive direction. And here's negative 3. Now let's use the reflection line. Well, I'm going to go to the reflection line. This is a distance of 3, and now I'm going to do a distance of 3 here. So notice the symmetry that you get from this mirroring reflection effect. So the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So notice we could continue to take opposites, and it would just be a continuous reflection back and forth across this reflection line. So if I had the opposite of the opposite of negative 3, that means I'd start at negative 3, innermost parentheses, then I take the opposite, move here, that would be this one, then I take the opposite again, and move back. So basically this would be negative 3. So notice every pair of taking opposites will undo each other. If you take the opposite twice, 1, 2, you get back to where you started. So keep this idea in mind when you have all of these opposite symbols and you need to make sense of them.